This is the face behind the radio. And I'm really happy to be here. And you know, I'd really like to be here on, I guess, on a better note than what I'm going to bring to you. But I'm really a guy about facts, about being blunt, and especially at this time in our nation's history, because our nation is very much in peril. And a lot of people don't understand how far down the road of being imperiled we are right now. A lot of people don't get it. And that's one of the reasons why people listen to my radio show, I think, because I put it to you. I bring you the facts. I don't sugarcoat it, because we are in serious danger. And it's really the question, will we prevail? Will our Constitution prevail? Will the Constitution and our, well, you know, if you want to talk about the strongest things that we have, it's the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Will they survive? Will they prevail? I think they will. I'm an optimist. And it's because of people like you listening to my types of radio shows and the new stream media that's going to turn the tide. This is war. We have been at war for a long time with people who want to destroy America and destroy the American dream. And they are well advanced in their program. And they've almost achieved it. They're getting close, they think. But they've overplayed their hand. And this is where we're going to start talking about today. The totalitarians, as I call them, and you'll find out who I define as totalitarians here in a second, they do what all totalitarians do. Because totalitarians really lack maturity of any kind or even experience. And so as a result, they kind of want to hurry up and get it done and see the good work that they did. And every totalitarian that has ever been on the planet, including Adolf Hitler and Stalin and everybody else, they've overplayed their hand and it's been a catastrophe. Now, we know that. But you out there in the audience, myself, all of us that are listening to the new stream media and paying attention to Fox News and so on, we have a big advantage on them because we've pushed their agenda forward. Now, that's a good thing. We've pushed their agenda forward by the people that I talk to, my sources say, a good 18 months. Now, if you know anything about people that have their agenda pushed forward, they make a lot of mistakes. And people that are really thin-skinned, well, we just start to chafe them. And then things start to go a little bit haywire for them. Now, I'll give you an example about how they overplayed their hand, and that's with Cliven and Carol Bundy. Now, how many saw that old thing play out? Okay. Well, the problem that they had, and this is where we're talking about, you know, our amendments. They ran into the first, I'm talking about the totalitarians, they ran into the First Amendment and they ran into the Second Amendment. And like I say on the radio show, these two amendments are just wonderful things. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press. And by the way, all of you can be members of the press. Did you know that? In spite of the fact that Dianne Feinstein tried to eliminate you as members of the press. Did you know that? She was coming up with some sort of law here recently that would exclude anybody from being a member of the press unless they had certain certifiable bona fides. What the heck is that? That means whatever some government bureaucrat dictates you could be, if you met their standards, you could then be somebody in the press. But we said, no, we didn't want that. The press stood up and said, no, we don't want that. And the court stood up and said, actually the Supreme Court said, freedom of the press for everybody. All of you, now listen to this, now think about this. This is a game changer. All of you are now part of the press. I just made you part of the press. Now, you're all reporters, and you have complete freedom granted to you by the First Amendment to go out and research and to send off emails, get on blog sites, send out letters. And you know who doesn't like that? The totalitarians hate it. They hate it. This is a magnifier on an epic scale that we've never seen in our country's history. You're all reporters now. You're all free to move around the countryside and report. Listen, report, and tell other people. That is power. That's more power than President Barack Hussein Obama has. And Barack Hussein Obama realized that. He realized that with George Zimmerman. And what happened with George Zimmerman? Remember George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin? Let me tell you about Trayvon Martin. Troubled kid. Before his dad was splitting up with what Trayvon thought was his mother, but it was his dad's live-in girlfriend that he grew up with all of his life. When that split happened, before that, Trayvon Martin was really a good kid, a good, solid kid. The divorce happened, or the breakup happened, and he got troubled. And he slipped into drugs, and he slipped into gangs. Marijuana actually was what his choice was. He was a pusher. He got caught with a gun. He was being expelled from school. And so the parents said, hey, you got to go live with your dad. So the woman that he had been living with, his so-called mom, sent him down south to live with his dad about 60 miles away. So Trayvon, being somebody who was selling marijuana, of all things, you know, the high-content THC marijuana they grow out here with the cartels, that stuff, he had been his third day out from smoking marijuana when he arrived at the house there with his dad and his new girlfriend. So what is a guy to do if you haven't had any of that marijuana for a few days? You're coming down. You're irritable. So you want to go take the edge off. And what you want to do is go skittling. How many know what skittling is? Yeah, there's a few going, yeah, I've been to rehab. I know what that's about. Okay. I was an educator for 41 years, custodian to superintendent, opened 2 charter schools. I've been with gang members. I love gang kids. I love them to death. I know all about the gangs. I was threatened. I had a death warrant put out on me by the Nazis. I was attacked by the Nazis. I was confronted in front of my school, and they were going to shoot me. So I know how to play with these characters. And by the way, they all like me because I stand up to them. But Trayvon Martin and his little drug thing, he decided one night to go out and get some Hawaiian iced tea, right? And a bag of Skittles. So he goes off to the 7-Eleven, and he comes back, and by the way, he's really agitated. There's a high level of THC in his bloodstream, but he hasn't had any to get high. He comes back and he runs into Zimmerman, and the rest is kind of history. He was coming to the house to make a concoction known as skittling. The Skittles with cough syrup and the Hawaiian tea. That makes a nice little syrup. You drink it, you medicate yourself, and you kind of get easy. Now, how many of you knew that before? That whole thing. Just learned something? Did you hear that in the mainstream media? Okay, this is the way the mainstream media and all the gangsters on the planet viewed you and I. They were laughing. They were absolutely laughing for all these months. But there's something that happened at trial, and there's something that happened when we realized, or that they realized, that something was different with the media and there was no responsiveness from the people, especially when they went out and they wanted to, protest against the jury result, right? So the Reverend Sharpton, we're gonna go ahead and protest in 100 cities, and it's gonna be this Saturday. So they start organizing. And guess who comes out on Friday? And in my opinion, incites riots. President Barack Hussein Obama. You remember that? Well, you know what happened that Saturday? Nothing. And the reason nothing happened is because there are a lot more people that are on the internet, the millennials, who know what skittling is. The kids saved us there. And what that told Obama and his administration, Saturday night, and I know this because I have people who can tell me this, they went into an absolute explosion in the White House because they knew they lost the media. No one responded to President Barack Hussein Obama. That is a victory. And since then, more people have been getting their news and information off of web base and radio than ever before. It's something like 60% of the population is now getting their news and information off of the iPhones like this, off of these types of laptops than ever before. So the mainstream media is going away. That's the power of the First Amendment.